Mesut Ozil has a book, and he's got some interesting stories in that book. The most interesting for me was a quote that he says Jose Mourinho told him in the dressing room at Real Madrid. I'm going to read this, but I'm going to read it way nicer than I think it was said. Oh, are you giving up now? You're such a coward. What do you want? To creep under the beautiful warm shower? Shampoo your hair? To be alone? Or do you want to prove to your fellow players, the fans out there, and me, what you can do? I think the best part of this is that he went after the hair.
This sounds like 50 Shades of Mourinho to me.
The warm, beautiful shower.
I'm just saying.
Your mind went there, brother. That was on
where you read it, Sam. Where you said it.
I do have a central voice.
No, the thing for me is that there's a number of things that jump out.
Okay.
Right when we are criticizing Mesut Ozil for lack of work rate, he brings out a book, and one of the excerpts is about a criticism that he received some years back about his lack of work rate. I don't get it. The second thing is I'm always a little bit critical of players who bring out books, because I just feel either you can't tell the story, you can't tell the full story.
Certainly not while you're still playing, right?
Exactly. And I mean, is this really a story? Is this really something that doesn't happen in every single dressing room where you're not playing well and the manager has a go at you? I don't understand. I don't understand why this is a chapter, or this is even a line in anybody's book. It happens every single day in every single dressing room.
I often wonder who is advising these players and who's in the ear of the player. If you are Mesut Ozil, or anybody who's around Mesut Ozil, and you know that this is part of your book, and you know what the rhetoric has been about you in the Premier League and really over the course of your career, right now is the moment to put this out. You would suggest, well, you know, that's going to generate sales. Really? Is this what?
Do you need sales? You're Mesut Ozil.
Exactly.
You're
that's
right.
what I'm saying. And so, what are we doing, Mesut? If I'm Mesut Ozil, I say, what are we doing, Mesut?
Yeah.
How about sit down, bro? How about do your job on the field, and that'll take care of everything else? Instead, we're reading this sort of quotes that, by the way, none of us are surprised about.
You mentioned it, and we didn't get to see it there in the quote, but basically before Jose Mourinho said that, he was mocking how Mesut Ozil wouldn't tackle. It's a confirmation of what a lot of people think of Ozil already.
And especially at this point of his Arsenal career, where he's coming in for so much criticism, where people continue to question his work rate and what does he give you other side of the ball when he isn't scoring goals or assisting. It makes absolutely no sense. And given the way the game has gone, maybe you understand, you sympathize with players taking book deals 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when they weren't making this kind of money. But now the kind of money he's on, now the kind of money that reportedly is being offered to him, I'm not sure how much a book deal moves the needle in terms of your bank balance.
And it's a career that's still going.
It makes no sense.
How do you make?
Is
this the first autobiography, or is there going to be more autobiographies from Mesut Ozil? And it's not just a criticism of him. It's a lot of players that have chosen to take this route, and it just doesn't make any sense. When you think about it, a player whose career is not over and whose book, the interest that you would have in that book would be what? To read about his career. Well, there are more stories to come, aren't they? I mean, is this volume 1?
Let me ask you this.
Ridiculous.
You've obviously seen confrontations between players and coaches, but this was really personal. Does it get that personal that often, to call a guy a coward?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
And it usually it's not with coward that they call you. There's a few other things that come into play that are perhaps a little bit more personal than that. And by the way, you go out, you do your job, game is over, that's it.
Yep, move on.
That's it. You move on. There is no other way about it.